Hello, I'm Sherry Truhlar, the fundraising auctioneer with the charity auction firm Red Apple Auctions, and today I want to talk to you about a great item idea. It has to do with two of the lesser-known labs of the Smithsonian Institution. And before I get started, I just want to point out that regardless of where you happen to live, a behind-the-scenes tour of a museum in your area is going to very often be a great item for you to put into your auction. I happen to focus on the Smithsonian because I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and many of my clients do as well. So this is what I happen to be familiar with. But I've no doubt, particularly if you're living in a metropolitan area, that you've got a museum that would offer a fascinating behind-the-scenes tour to it. And keep that in mind as I go through today's presentation, because I'm sure that this can be adapted to some degree to what you have in your area. And what the heck, if you happen to know someone who works at the Smithsonian, then certainly reach out to them and see if this might be something that you can include in your own auction. No doubt it would be just as popular in Houston or Los Angeles as it would be here. Now, I think, again, that securing a private behind-the-scenes tour of any of the Smithsonian museums, and there's a bunch of them, is going to be a great item. But these two lesser-known facilities are very unusual. They work well as a silent auction idea. They work great as a live auction item. It just depends on your event. The first one is called the Feather Identification Lab. This is jokingly called the CSI for birds. It's a part of the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. This is the group that analyzes feathers and body material that is found after bird strikes. And bird strikes is a term used when birds collide with aircraft. For instance, you might remember back to January of 2009 when that U.S. Airways flight 1549 had to make an emergency landing into the Hudson River. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. But that was the Feather Identification Lab, which was brought in to identify the birds as being a flock of Canada geese. The second lab is the Osteology Lab of the Smithsonian Institution's Natural History Museum. Again, great, unusual item here. The most exciting part of the tour is often said to be watching the Dermisted beetle colony. I've never been, but it does sound interesting. This colony is used to prepare bone specimens. So dead mammals and birds go into the tank. The beetles swarm over the specimen. They naturally clean the bones of all the flesh, and that allows the specimen to be skeletized. Very interesting. So certainly neither of these labs are going to be commonplace to most guests attending your auction. So if you are reaching out to the Smithsonian Institution, consider asking for a tour of one of these facilities. Someone in your audience is bound to find the behind-the-scenes access interesting. Now, for 100 other great auction item ideas, I encourage you to check out my website where I've got for free our item guide. This is the top 100 items we sold in auctions. All of the items sold for above value, meaning that if it was a fair market value of $4,000, we sold it for above that. They are great ideas that your procurement committee can use, particularly when they're getting started in that acquisitions cycle. So you can sign up for that for free, again, at www.redappleauctions.com. Hey, thanks for listening today. I look forward to learning more about you and your event online.